All right, sitting here today with Larry Feiner, formerly of Framingham, Massachusetts, and Janine Hartnett Bork, formerly of Norfolk, Massachusetts. They reside here both in Bellingham. Now, how many years have you resided here in Bellingham?
We bought this house in May of 1999, so about 14 years?
Wow.
No, 10 years. Okay, edit that. 10 years. We don't want to screw up the addition here.
Take two.
But about 10 minutes, 10 years we've lived here.
Okay. So do we just start over?
Restart it.
Restart it from the very
Restart
beginning?
it. Sorry.
It's good. No,
You should probably say,
say
Janine Bork-Hartnett.
Bork-Hartnett. Okay. All right. Take two.
Sorry.
It's okay. I think we'll be taking a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give yourselves a couple seconds.
All right. I'm sitting here today with Larry Feiner, formerly of Framingham, Massachusetts, and Janine Bork-Hartnett, formerly of Norfolk, Massachusetts. They are both Bellingham residents. Now, how long have you been living in Bellingham?
Oh, 10 years. We bought it in May of 1999.
Okay. Sitting here today because they are an incredible inspiration, and I'd like to tell a story today of an incredible story. I'd like to start with your story about your lifestyle, your life here in Bellingham before your accident. Can you tell me a little bit about...
And how active he was?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Larry loved life. You couldn't keep him down. He was constantly going. He was a diver. He always dove for lobsters only because he knew that's what I loved. He was a marksman at a sports club, shooting guns, target shoots. He's a master electrician, owns his own company, Linan Electric. But what else did you do? Tons of stuff. He used to be a drag racer. He was an avid snowmobiler. I think that was his passion. So every weekend he would go to Maine and go snowmobiling, yeah, as you can see.
And loving the outdoors.
Yep, and loving just the outdoors. Couldn't keep him down.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so about a little over a year ago, there was an accident.
It was about a year ago.
Yep. Happened while you were working. You want to tell me a little bit about what that was like?
I get a call from my son. It was a Friday morning, early. He was working with Larry at the time, and said, "You need to come to Wareham," which is where the job was. There's been an accident, but he wouldn't tell me exactly what it was. And so I headed down that way, and by the time I got close, he called me back and said they were airlifting him to Mass General because he had gotten electrocuted with 13,000 volts and fell 35 feet onto his truck and then bounced from his truck onto the ground. So we spent probably a good first few months at Mass General. It's probably easier to list what he didn't break than what he did break. He suffered a traumatic brain injury, and most of the damage was done to his right side, so it's taken his left side a little bit longer to come back. He was extremely healthy to begin with, and that's probably what saved his life. He was healthy to begin with, and he's a fighter. Mm-hmm. And this is him today.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
And after you left Mass General, you went to a rehabilitation center?
Yep, he spent about probably about a month and a half at Mass General. Mm-hmm. He was in a coma for about 17 days, and then they moved him down to the next traumatic floor because he was no longer considered a risk. Mm-hmm. Then he spent probably about 2 months at Spalding Rehab. Came a long way, and then we had to move him from Spalding to Marlborough Hills, mm-hmm. which is where he spent probably about 8 or 9 months. And then in June, I brought him home.
He
And
looks
he's
pretty
doing
happy
awesome.
about that. Yep. He looks pretty happy
Yep.
about that.
Yep. So he's had quite the journey, but I think the doctors from Mass General, if they saw him, they would simply be amazed
Yeah.
at how far he's come.
Absolutely.
He just had the trach taken out last week, so
Yep.
he's come a long way.
That's a huge milestone.
Yep.
Absolutely. Now, what have been some of the struggles to bring him home, as far as making, your home more handicap accessible for him, his needs?
Well, I knew the first thing that we had to do was to install ramps to get him in and out of the house. So, thanks to my incredible family and his, we built the back ramp. And then I asked Larry if there was anything that he was worried about with me bringing him home. And the only thing he said was a fire. And I said, you're right. So these doors over here were sliding doors. So I had to put atrium doors in so that in case there was a fire, I could just unplug his bed and roll him out the door. And then so we did that for him because that was the only thing that concerned him. And so we made sure that was, and it was brilliant on his part because I never would have thought, how would I get him out real quick? Yep.
So he's still taking care of you, and he's still
Yep.
taking care of things here.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So other than that, and then they had to make sure they had all the home health people set up and the equipment that I needed here in order to bring them home. So it took a while for them to get everything together to bring him home, but
Yeah.
it worked, and here he is.
Yeah.
I think he's happier being here.
I think so. I think so. And now, how has it been dealing with the insurance company and the ongoing medical expenses?
It seems harder now because of the equipment that he just requires. I mean, he obviously needs a wheelchair. This one, luckily, was donated to him, but it doesn't actually fit him the way it should. And that's still an ongoing process with the insurance company, trying to get them to provide him one, but he needs one, obviously. Right now, this is our communication devices, which is a letterboard. He does very well with it, and that will be our next thing, is to try, which we have looked into getting a communication device for him, which tracks his eyes. So he's able to use the computer system too. And then it will speak for him, which will save him, and it'll give him other opportunities too. He'll be able to email, go on the internet and do his own search, keep him kind of busy and his mind going.
That's right.
Which is huge. So those are the only things that I find that right now I'm having a hard time with, is them approving that kind of thing.
Sure.
And who knows if they will or not? I don't know.
Right. Now, what is a day for Larry like? What is a normal, typical day entail for Larry?
Now, you jump in anytime you want to say anything, okay? Usually he sleeps in because he's been up most of the night. But he, by 9 o'clock, the aide comes and gives him a bath, gets him dressed, gets him up by 11 o'clock, and thank God we have a beautiful front porch that during the summer we were able to utilize a lot of. And he'd go out there, and that's where he would do his therapies, and then it would either be speech, it'd be usually one a day, speech therapy, occupational therapy, or physical therapy. And then usually after that, he's pretty tired, so he wants to lay down for a little while, and then he gets back up, and we spend the rest of the night on the porch until the mosquitoes get us. But there's other days that he wants to come in and just have his own quiet time.
Right.
So yep. But he wants to push with these therapists, so he's
Still wants to be very active.
yes, and in control of his day. Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
That's great.
Yep.
Now, an important milestone that he just had was having a trach out.
Yes.
And I know that he has more milestones and goals that he's going for. One of them is that he would really like to be able to utilize a table and a stand, and then there's, that he would like to have a little bit more independence in his house. Some of these things definitely could definitely be utilized.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that there are things that could be made for him. What would be something, I mean, if in your wildest dreams, what would you want for him at this point?
I want to be able to give him every opportunity there is to advance, to get, and right now we're working on a standing frame to get him the weight put on his legs, to get him to stand, which he is so willing to want to do, and we're getting there.
Right.
And he's done it a couple times. He actually stood up at the counter. Of course, he was, all with assist, of course, but he wants to do it so bad that it's to be able to provide all the equipment that he needs, that he wants to get to where he wants to be, which is back to the things that he used to want to be. And I think you want to say something, just by the look on your face.
Okay.
N T D H A N. Is it thanks? Thanks. Who are you thanking, honey? B F J J B. I mean F. Yep. A. Your family. Yep. You're thanking your family for helping you build build the stuff. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And I think those are the same kind of goals that that you want, right? Is that what you want to do? You want to have the equipment that
Right.
you need to get you stronger, and yep.
And I think there are times now that your family comes and sort of lifts him up, but there are machines or there are things that could come
Exactly.
that could do that, and
So
you
that-
could have his independence.
Right, so that
back.
I don't have to see how many people I can get to, just for his own safety, have around him to be able to do that. I have a Hoyer lift that I got at a yard sale, that we're trying to build the standing frame onto that, so it'll help to us to assist him to raise up. And then, so that it will only take a couple of us to help him, support him while he uses the power in his own legs. It would be nice to be able to afford the right kind of, you know what I mean? The standing frame that we had seen has other things that you can add to it down the road. It has like a wheel bike thing on it that you can attach. So that will, when he gets this motion, he could easily use that. And then it has other attachments that down the road he could use too. So, but for now, we're trying to do the best we can to get him
there without the equipment,
Exactly.
obviously.
Yep.
But hopefully the equipment will come.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But look
Just his will and determination. I mean, he pushes himself all the time.
Yeah. Well, he's a young guy with a strong
Yep.
spirit, and
That's right.
with any luck. There are a couple questions. What are the things that you find the hardest?
Mood swings. For me, it's just juggling, giving him my 100% attention and trying to work and run his business at the same time. So for me, it's juggling everything, because I want to just be there to help him move to that next level. You know what I mean? So it's hard to pull myself away and say, okay. For him, I don't know. Do you want to answer that question? Well, what's the thing that... M, S, Y, U, D, O, A, T, U, D, O, A, G, R E A. Okay, I lost track. We're gonna have to do
I thought
this
it was my
again.
dog.
I thought it was too. I lost track. U, and then D, A, E, I, O. U, D, O, A, G. Agree. You do agree. Agree?
Oh, he agrees. No.
Nope. U, D. I'm sorry. See, I lost track. Do you want me to get the board and try to write it with the board?
No.
I'm sorry, Lara.
Larry has to have a lot of patience with us. He probably finds that the most frustrating. Is that the hardest part?
Is that the frustrating part, Lara? Me not getting the letters?
Communication?
Communication, yeah.
It's
I'm
got to be
sorry.
the most frustrating part
Yeah.
for Larry.
Do you want to try again, Lara? Okay. I'll get it. Can we cut for a second? I want to get the board just in case. Okay.
All right. How about what gives you the most satisfaction?
Me the most satisfaction? That smile.
Yeah.
That smile. Oh yeah. Just the fact that when he does something, he's so proud of himself, and he smiles, and it gets me that much further, because he's so proud of himself. Yep. That's the thing that satisfies me the most. And the milestones that he makes, because he does it so quick.
Right.
Because he puts 100% into it. There are days when he doesn't feel like doing anything, and those are the days I say, okay. Because most of the time he does give it his all. Yep. So that, for me, gives me the most satisfaction.
Yeah. What's the one thing that gives you the most pleasure? Is there one thing? Is it
I
that
guess it would be
smile?
the same thing.
The
The smile.
It's pretty
Yep.
special. I think
Yep.
I remember the first time he smiled.
Well, it was a
in
half a
Spalding.
smile, yeah.
It was like it was in
Yep.
Spalding, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
The next question is, what do you need the most? Would it be the communication device? Yes.
Yeah. I would say that the communication device, as much as I do like this chair, if I could get one that actually fits him for his height-wise, but it works for him, and I'd say, anything to make him progress to the next level is what I'm striving to do. Everything else will fall into place. It's just to get him the equipment, or even, transportation to get him to different outpatient facilities also, would be a huge thing. That would he'd be able to utilize their equipment and stuff like that. But, he said to me the other day when he finally got the trach out and I got him home, he says, "I'm coming back." And I said, "Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are." Very good, too. Yep. And you are going to get there, Larry. You are going to get there.
It's just going to take time.
Yep. Good job, baby. Did you want to
just gonna
say
take
something?
time.
What was the question, Sarah, again? You can cut that.
Because others care.
Oh, no, I was doing the other one.
The other one?
The things that because I wanted him to, it looked like he wanted to answer that question.
Oh,
I wanted to
okay.
give him the opportunity to, and I wouldn't shut up in time to do it.
Oh, what's one things give you the most pleasure? Or that?
Or the things that you would want the most. What is it that you want the most? N, T, A, E, I, O, 2, B, to B, A, B, D-H-L-A-B-L-A-E.
T.
T. B-L-E-T-I.
I think it's T.
Able to be able to. N-T. A. I should have known that. To be able to talk. N-T. O. To. M-S-Y. To be able to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yep. And that voice is coming back today, because today you worked really hard on it. It's coming. You just want that voice. Yep. I think that was one of Larry's also biggest passions, was to talk. Anybody that knew him would be like, they knew they would be there talking to Larry for at least an hour because he had a lot to say. So for him to be able to talk is huge for him. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That will be a nice day.
Oh, yep. And I've got a little bit of his recordings, which is great. So it's starting.
Starting
It's just
to come
going to
back.
take time. Everything's going to take time.
Yeah. So, because others care, what can they do to help?
That's a tough question to answer. It's a tough question to answer. Because, oh, he has an answer. C, G, A, E, get, M, A, E, get me, B, A, E, A, get me, B, A, get me back, to get you back,
Yeah.
to things that you were used to doing before. Yep,
We're working on it, Blair.
well,
We're working on it, buddy.
we'll get you back. Your will and determination will get you back.
Yep.